Hello! Are you still awake? I can speak really hard and loud so people wake up a little bit because it's Sunday after the conference, everybody has a hangover and stuff like that. But we are going to talk about something very important. That's why I asked the guys if I could do a short introduction. So the Blender Network is an official approved, semi-supported organization by Blender Foundation because they are helping executing one of the most essential targets I've been defining already for many years, which is we have to find ways to help professionals. And with a professional, I don't mean somebody who's really good or high quality and does whatever is interesting. A professional means a Blender user who is somehow making a living with working with Blender. Whether that is training or research or art or film or game making, it doesn't matter. Somehow, as a part of your living, there is Blender, and that means you are still a different type of user as a, for example, somebody who's a hobbyist or hanging out on forums and stuff like that. So professionals need more efficiency. Professionals, because they make a living with things, can pay for things, so you can lift up things. And the most important thing for me is, I think, if we want to keep Blender at this quality level, and if we want to improve it, which is only more difficult, we can only do that if we can find full-timers and professionals, paid Blender developers, to work on Blender, to lift up Blender. So the Blender Network, the Blender Network partners and studios, I want them to become the stakeholders of the future for Blender. That's what the most important aspect is of the network. So that's what I wanted to say. Probably you guys have lots of more stuff to say about the practical implications of that. So thank you, and we'll see you later.
All right, so welcome. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what our presentation is going to be about. So our presentation will go over what is the Blender Network. I think everybody knows, but we're going to iterate once more because it helps. But yeah, who is a member of the Blender Network here? So the goal is that at the end of the talk, everybody will want to be a member of the Blender Network. Okay? All right. We will go over a little bit the evolution of the Blender Network, the story, what we have been doing in the past year and a half, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about the numbers. So physically, how many people are in the network? How many page views do we have? What is the traffic on the website? Is it growing? Is it increasing, decreasing? What's going on? And then we are going to give you a little preview of what is coming up, what we've been working on, and the outcome of some interesting discussion that we've been having during this conference. And in the end, of course, we are very open and we would really like to hear what you think and have some feedback from you, or any other question you will get an answer. We know that Blender really needs a network to connect the different type of professional figures that use Blender as a tool. It's very often freelancers, so single individuals, single artists who can be generalists but can be very specialized, and they are looking sometimes for support. They are looking for somebody who can complete their skill set to deliver a freelance project. They would normally do it by themselves, but they are looking for somebody else just to cover one specific area. It can be a corporate type of member, so a studio with 5, 10, 20 people, and they might be looking for education, for technical support, or for a trainer. And of course also academics. That's another type of member we have in the network, and it can be researchers, it can be university teachers, all people that work with Blender on a high academic level. So what we do is consulting and networking. This means that anybody, members and non-members, can get in touch with us at the Blender Network, and we will help and we will provide a connection with the people they are looking for, or we will connect them with the right person. And this is free of charge, so that's an interesting part. Like, it's not a commercial service per se. We have paid memberships, of course, for freelance or corporate accounts, and you pay for having a page to be on the network. And but to browse the network, to see what's on the network, and to get support, that's absolutely for free. And it's open, so it's an open directory. It's not like on LinkedIn that when you want to see more details, you have to give everything you have, including your credit card, to see a little bit more about the profile you're interested in. So that's a different philosophy. Yeah, so now I leave the word to Pablo, who is going to go over what we've been doing since February 1 year ago.
Yes. Hello, my name is Pablo. This Blender network thing is not so recent, actually. We are explaining everything again, but it's actually coming from a year already, a bit more than that. It was first announced in 2010. So it's actually way more than that, but it was just announced. It was like a dream of Ton getting rid of all the emails he has about, like, hey, who can I look for, like, this kind of thing, or like this development, this, I want an animation, I want like any kind of request. He would go to Ton. And now we are trying to get rid of that huge weight Ton has, and try to take care of that and network better with actual professionals that specialize and actually have time for that kind of tasks. The announcement was in 2010. Then it was actually first launched 2 years later at SIGGRAPH. This is how it used to look. The functionality didn't change much. But in January 2013, this year, we relaunched the website. We changed the way it looks, and we tried to improve the management and try to make it grow. Improve actually the way people can connect to each other and people can search for each other. 2013, like in January, actually, we had all these people that were invited first, but it was a bit messy. Like the amount of people was too much, and it was hard to go through all of them, each on one of them. So in 2013, we did it. We actually re-released the network again, and we focus on going through every single person in the Blender network and be sure that they have this nice, awesome profile, that they have a nice description, nice picture, nice header, and just a way to show that they are available for work or not. Because, for example, I have a page now at the Blender network, but I remove the availability for work because I'm busy with another project. But for example, I can say that I'm available for other kind of things, or my contact is there, but I'm not available for work at the moment. So that is important to show. Improved portfolio. We also want to show artwork, right? If you're an artist, or your animations, if you're an animator, or even development, because we welcome and we very, very hope more developers will be at the Blender network, because we get a lot of requests on Blender-specific tools that they need to be covered by these developers. Modular skill set display. Also, like if artists usually with Blender is so wide, there's not just a modeling or animation or compositing. You need to show what you can do with Blender and what is what you can do best. So this is more or less how the new profiles look like. You can show that you're a freelancer, how many years of experience you have, where you are at the moment, and if you're available to work remotely or to travel and such. When you make your profile, you can change these settings really easily. We try to make it easier. Well, we are going to try to make it even easier. We're going to talk about this later. But basically, all the information is there, and all the settings you can change are super accessible. In May, we continue with this cleaning up our directory, we actually, the user count somehow went down because we tried to like clean up, those profiles that we have filled. We tried to get in touch with people, give them like a month or two, even like enough time for them to work on it. And if not, then we might like not display it on the front page, but at least so we can show only the best ones and those that really take care of and have the time at the moment to show what they can do and how they can do it. So in May we implemented a new search system too, so we can actually search by either skills. You can search by if you want a developer, and if the developer is actually doing Blender on the core changes, or if it's only Python, for example, or any other open shading language even. And if it's making bulk, if it's a trainer, if it's a Blender certified trainer too, you can filter by that. And availability, if can it work now, can it travel and do training. So the last new and shiny feature we have, that we just introduced some weeks ago, is the jobs board. And Francesco is going to talk about it a little bit more about what is it about, how, why it was needed, and can you talk a little bit about it?
So we've been asked for months and months. Okay, we need. There is a lot of demand for Blender professionals, and people are of course wondering if they could get a job posting on the network. Or in some cases, our networking job is not really needed. People know already what they want, and they just want to show it off and have the biggest amount of people possible to look at it and provide a quote, provide an offer for how much they would do the job for. So yeah, it's since actually 1 week we published this, and it seems to be quite trending. We are receiving quite a few offers, and all that you see here is of course paid offers, which is, I mean, we take this for granted, but not always. Like sometimes we are really trying to make this seriously. So we are going to see how it looks like in 1 or 2 months. So I warmly invite you to check this out if you are a Blender professional or a freelancer and you're looking for work. I mean, it's a hard time economically. Many people are complaining that there is nothing going on, or that it's very hard to get a gig. So I warmly encourage you to check this out and let us know how it goes. I will move on very briefly so that then we can have our Q&A session. Just to give you an idea, since February 2013, we had quite a good numbers in terms of visits and people coming over the website, a very good balance between returning visitors and new coming visitors. We cover a very wide spectrum of countries. The Blender Network is extremely international. We have users in the US, in Germany, France, all over Europe, South America, Asia. It's really incredible to see how wide this network is. About our members, just to give you an idea of the size of the network, we have around 180, I think now it's a bit more, around 200 active members, which is pretty good, because as Pablo was mentioning, we really made an effort to make sure that who is on the network is a verified person. We talk to them, we've been mailing to them, we know who they are. And this way, when somebody asks to us for support, or they want to get an advice who to go to, we exactly know them, because we know them in person almost. And we have a lot of pending members that are just trying to get into the network, but they are not really fulfilling the requirements. Just to get the proportion, of course, right now the network is a lot freelancers, so it seems to work quite well for them, and we are trying to make the share of corporate and education bigger. It should be more balanced, and of course, especially about the education, I'm going to talk about it in a few moments. But it's more on us. We really have to communicate this better and really explain. I mean, I hope that this session is a little bit more. It made a little bit more clear what we are doing and why it's interesting also for a corporate member to join a studio. So now Pablo will just talk about a little survey we've been doing in July, and then we will wrap up our overview.
Yeah, so this year we've been in SIGGRAPH in LA, in Anaheim, and we made this little survey some days before the actual event because we wanted to know what our members think. This is the first time we do something like this, so it was very fun to see these results. So basically we got great rating for the platform, functionality, and support. So people overall, the ones on the network they seem to be happy, at least. If they didn't like, you can say it to me now that the actual members that are here, they can say it for real. But I think they're pretty happy so far with what we are providing, especially now with the new search. It makes it much more easier. Even I myself, I'm using it when I get somebody asking like, hey, I need somebody that I can do this animation, and this it's in this country at this time, and then you just go to the network, easy. It's not that you're not caring about those that are outside of the network, but it makes it just easier. They're just there. Another thing is that many freelancers got job offers. This is a true story. Even Sebastian made a video about it, and it was very nice. Sebastian Koenig, and together with Dalai, they worked on this new feature that somebody needed for like some crazy project, and this is what makes us really happy. You know, like actual professionals getting work from the network. This is what we try to do. Some people get it like just from the list. They just go to the website and they look for people and they just get in touch directly. Or some others get via the Blender network. They mail us, okay, I need this work. I have €5 and I have 1 month, and okay, we'll try to do, or sometimes that's not so extreme, but sometimes happens like, okay, I want to finish this for next week and I have only €300 and I need to do only the animation, and so we usually respond within some couple hours or maybe 12 hours max, but we try to get in touch as soon as possible, get in touch with others, members of the network, and try to reach for the specific target. Another thing is that 80% of the members will renew their membership. Yay! That's awesome. That's great news, because when we just first launched this at the beginning of the year, it was just like a promo to get them 1 extra year, and now we will see really who is willing to get on the Blender network to see if this actually works, if it's worth it or not. So we're looking forward to that. And what's coming next? So what's coming next? We want to improve this. We want to make this bigger and get more people connected, so that way we can cover more of this demand that exists. More advertising and marketing of the network. Just put it everywhere. Give you like a stamp or something that you can just carry around and say, I'm a proud member of the network and I have all these guys to back me up. Like if I need a work, I can get in touch with these other people and we can get it done. Because that's something that we also try to push, is to work as a team. So if you're a freelancer, you're living on this little island somewhere, and you know that you can count with other people that are in the same place, like waiting for jobs to do, or they are available to work. And as Francesco said, we go through every member profile and we ask them to keep it up to date, and maybe sometimes can be a bit annoying, but that way we know that this person is really serious about working. He really cares about what he's doing, and he's going to do it responsibly. An internal forum, we also want to have a way for the members to communicate to each other. Maybe there are meetings, maybe these events. The Blender Network has an events section where we just post events, of course, but that feature these members, especially like training. If you're a trainer and you're giving a course, it's going to be displayed on the main page, and on the new blender.org website we also try to hook these events up to keep it more alive, because there's actually Blender stuff happening pretty much every week around the world, or even more. And make the connection between the Francesco is going to talk about this now. It came up from a nice panel that was on education on the other salon here at the Blender conference. But the idea is just to get these trainers together and try to get them certified, so that way we can really push that also that area from the Blender Foundation, that there is actually trainers that are serious about it and they're working on it as their real job. You know, they are actually teaching Blender at any level. And last but not least, bring the network everywhere you go. We want to make this easier. You know, like if you're available for work this week, okay, you can put it there. And if you are not, just try to find a way for you to make it easier to update. Probably many people here update their Twitter or Facebook or Google Plus or whatever at least once a week. If that's a lot. We want to make it easier for you to do it also on the network, so it's a nice, alive community, and everything is up to date. So we were thinking about making some apps and try to make it easier for people to find professionals and for you to update your profile. Any questions so far? Yes.
Francesco, you mentioned pending members. These are members that do not fulfill requirements. Could you elaborate on that? Do they are not skillful enough for certain areas, or have they just not uploaded a mugshot or face?
So it's more about, that was just to give an overview of like the balance really of how many people are, we try to keep the bar quite high. So we demand a certain responsiveness for people who apply. So sometimes we get people who just register on the website just because it was amazing. Like for me, it was the first time I was building like a social networking application. So I had not really a lot of experience of how users do. So if you give a user a form, he's gonna fill it. And that's it. So we got many applications just because the initial registration on the network is nothing happens. You just have to add your details, and then you're supposed to choose the type of membership you want to have. But that's only afterwards. So when in doubt, users just fill the form, and then it's up to us to get back to them and say, hey, are you going to actually subscribe? Are you going to do something? So that's like, it was just to say, okay, there is still quite an attitude, like people don't really understand what the network is about. They just try to get in, and then sometimes they don't really fulfill the requirements. And in other cases, they do not respond, or in other cases, their work is it's not enough. Like some people apply and they say, okay, I have a professional training facility. Okay, show me where your professional training facility is. Where is the building? How many courses do you have? Where is your website? I want to see a little bit of your portfolio, you know? And then they don't reply, or their material is not up to the level. And we are not like making a selection that is like, we're not really judging, we just objectively see if it can work or not as a Blender professional. So, yeah.
So now the organization of the Blender network seems like little flat because you have only one level, which is worldwide. Do you have some plans for organizing it in more national, fashionable way? So to strengthen up local communities, like for example, Poland, France, or something like that?
So one aspect of the Blender network and of the Blender community in general is that there is always a lot of freedom for members or for users to step up and take initiative. I definitely think that it would be very good to have local communities, because meeting up and building a real-life connection always helps. For example, in the States, in California, there is a Southern California Blender Association. So in the LA area, many Blender users meet up, and some of them work in the film industry, and there is a lot going on, and they meet up in person. They chat every once per month or so, and they did this by themselves. And now we are trying to get them connected with the network. So like, it's true, what we could do is make it make it look better on the Blender network side. So to say, okay, there is this official group of people, and if you want to meet with them, you can go to Poland, and they are going to work there.
The idea of the forum, the internal forum, is also to cover a bit of that. Like maybe make a forum for Poland, make a forum for the Spanish-speaking members, and try to get them to connect there. That's mainly the idea. Yeah.
I lost my voice, so I need someone who speaks for me at the microphone. But maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think it would be risky to have a job board that is not used? I mean, it's not so easy for many people to say what kind of work they have to describe.
Yeah.
And if you think it could be also risky, what you said before, I have the barrels for this thing. And,
Okay.
An events way of becoming.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So his question is if it's too risky, if it would be too risky to make the job board open, not managed, like just leave it for everyone to post their jobs. And I think it would be too risky. We'll try to keep this as serious as possible. And even though if you don't know how to describe your job, what you exactly need, if you can show that you're a real company or you're serious about paying this person, that's what usually happens. We go through this. We get in touch with the person that wants to offer this job, and really try to see that it's real, that it exists.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we have this process is very fast, so there is really no problem in just getting an inquiry and then we review it. So we make sure that the keywords are fine, the description is short enough, all those little editorial things that most of the time users don't do. So of course, for one user that is able to do it, there are 10 users who are not, so it's definitely not worth doing. At this point, I would like to wrap it up, and thank you very much for your attention. I actually forgot to mention one thing. Actually, you've seen our contact details. I was moderating a panel 1 hour ago or something about Blender education. And what came out of that discussion is that there is really a need for users, for a better networking for users who work in education. And I already mentioned to some of the people over there to please get in touch with us at support@blendernetwork.org, and we are going to set up something to make it work and try to keep that discussion going, because there are a lot of good ideas and there are a lot of interesting, potentially interesting perspectives that it's really a shame not to pursue. So yeah, thanks again.